Good morning. I was asked to talk about generally IoT. A number of the colleagues, Stefan and others, are going to talk about its application inside automotive. But I want everybody to get a general idea of what we're doing at SAP, and so that's what this is about. And the last presentation talked a lot about technology. I'll touch on that a little bit. But I would also like to make this presentation really about why we're doing all of this. This is a true story. 2 days ago, I was in the car with my son. He's 12, and like all 12-year-olds, they're fascinated by cars. And a Corvette came by, and he hadn't seen the newest one. He said, "Daddy, what's that?" I said, "Well, as you would say, well, son, that's a Corvette." And he goes, "Awesome." And I said, "Yes." And I was thinking about that experience he just had. It's like a fabulous cup of coffee. It's an amazing aha moment. And there was another stat the other day on the BBC. The world's GDP has doubled in the last 20 years. So we're existing in a richer world. Millennials don't care about stuff so much. They care about experience. This is kind of the point and the way we're moving, and these technologies have to drive that. And so I want to talk about these technologies, but always in the end, how is that changing the experience of the customer? Another stat, 50 to 60% of the buying cycle now happens before they ever talk to one of your salespeople, because they can touch the product. And it's true for SAP as well in so many ways. So to that, I think, let me ask, how many folks are doing telematics type of implementations today? Okay, small bit. Predictive maintenance, sensors in manufacturing. Okay. So what do you see a lot in these types of presentations, a slide like this? First, you have the Internet of Content, great documents, and can be shared in HTML. We're living in the Internet of People, where everybody can take pictures of their food. It's awesome. And it is. Look at this. That was awesome. By the end of the decade, a lot of analysts expect about 10 times the number of people connected, they'll be connected machines. So what does that mean? I like to think of it as an amazing natural resource. I mean, if what makes us human, if you look into your neighbor's eyes, it's different than what you see in your pet, hopefully, that you see insight, right? And that's what makes us human, and the ability to gain insight. And if you look at what this means, this is the greatest natural resource ever for our ability to gain insight. 20, 30 years from now, people will think, how did they even make decisions? They didn't know anything. We'll have all of this information. So that's an interesting way to think of it. It's impact. I collect these as I read analyst information. And these address some of the biggest problems in humanity. CO2, 70% reduction from smart emissions, feeding the world as it grows. I don't think we're going to stop at 8 billion people. Increasing crop yield, 67%, 500 billion in manufacturing. Obviously, the autonomous vehicle is the biggest one here. Less wrecks, huge productivity. I'd love to be able to do my email on the way to the office, et cetera. So a massive impact on making the world better. But in my view, and I think SAP's point of view, it's really not about the things themselves, because you still have to run the business processes. You still have to do manufacturing, logistics, et cetera, things that Heiko were talking about. This will just allow you to do them a lot better. So if you move your head out of the things themselves and into how it helps your processes and how it helps your customer get engaged, this is where the thinking really, we believe, will be. And we're seeing a maturity curve in customers that's going through kind of a 3-phase, and every company is in one of them. The first two we know a lot about. The third one, nobody really knows. I don't know. I'll talk to you about it. The first one is connecting. Obviously, we're all in that process right now. If you go to any IoT conference, you'll see, and all my buddies in Silicon Valley have their gadget and their platform, and they're all connecting and getting insight. But insight's kind of an interesting thing. I was at a conference recently, and they had a dashboard that was easily twice the size of this entire stage, and all the devices from this company were being seen globally, and it was awesome. I mean, it was like Tom Cruise. It was like the Corvette. It was like, wow. And the guy said, right there, and the red light went off in the North Sea, he said, there's a pump going bad on an oil rig. Temperature's wrong, pressure's wrong. Our analytics say it's going to go bad in the next few days. So we called the operator and said, hey, you need to go check pump 357, et cetera. He called us back a few days later, and amazingly, we were right, saved him some unplanned downtime, and the audience clapped. And I was struck. I said, oh my God. They were in Star Wars, and it was, and then they went to ring, ring, Phil. So the point is, insight is useful and amazing, but without the ability to rapidly take action, its value is lessened. And that's really the second phase. And as you know, SAP has a huge amount of technology to do operational improvement in a lot of different areas. And this is where we think companies can really gain operational efficiency by transforming the way they operate now that they know things, being able to automatically order parts, do repair, replace, calculation, get contingent labor, et cetera, and execute against the problem so you're not ringing up Phil and hoping he can get somebody there on time. The third one is kind of the Corvette one that I was talking about, is reimagining your customer's experience. I'm seeing this every day right now where companies that were traditionally in one business are no longer in that business. I'll give you a few examples of this. And this is the third phase where companies are going, and this goes beyond IoT, but to general digitization of business process. An example here. Okay, so this maturity curve, and I'll walk you through the third phase here, but what we see in a lot of companies is as they can connect, transform, and reimagine their process, they then take on different jobs to be done along the way. We talked about a few of them, but we have a process we use. It's not ours, but we work with a lot of companies called design thinking to help them gain an insight into their own maturity curves and how they can use these technologies to best address a number of these issues. So you'll notice some of the things up here that might make sense to you, some that don't. But this process is what we're seeing across the board. In that maturity curve, here's a couple of interesting examples. Under Armour, the CEO was at Sapphire, and he said some things that I thought were really interesting. He said, I have a plaque written on my whiteboard, I don't know which, but he said, I sell shoes and shirts. And he said, I have to remember that because they now have tens of millions of people using those fitness applications there on the right. So, Joe, if we want to run against each other, we can hook up online and race. They track your shoes. They're going to be tracking your heart monitoring in the clothing you wear, et cetera. So today he's in the shoes and shirts business. But in 5 to 7 years, will he be selling shoes and shirts, or is he in the digital athlete business? Is he have an amateur subscription that's $100, so you get all the shoes and shirts you need based on the sensor data, sort of a pretty fit guy, gal subscription and a pro subscription, and that's their business. Now, if you're selling tennis shoes against this company and you're not in the digital athlete business, I think you're at a huge disadvantage. And that's really what these technologies can bring to different companies. Hog Lightner is another company I like to talk about because it's fun. They're in the high-tech business of bathroom supplies. Not so high-tech, the Internet of Toilets, people call it. But it's an amazing company what they've done. So we work with them they do a lot of industrial washrooms at stadiums and concert halls. They manage them. And so we work with them to sensor the dispensers of all kinds, put turnstiles into the washrooms. And pretty soon, their business problem was every time they send a truck to a facility to see if they need supplies, it costs quite a bit of money. And they wanted to remove that. If the washroom was completely stocked, why am I sending somebody there? And if it was awful, as we've been in these washrooms at stadiums, they wanted to know it and be able to go address it. So we solved that pretty easily. But along the way, what happened is they started realizing the data they were getting and thinking of themselves differently. So they made this video, it's not ours, that they are now the big washroom data company. And I thought that was fascinating. A company as disconnected from tech comes up with this. And so they changed the thinking that they were in the bathroom supplies, that they were now a washroom operator. And so that's hugely powerful that if a company that's in this business can do this, any company needs to think of themselves as a technology integrated company. So SAP has a number of solutions. I'll walk you briefly through them and then sort of at a high level the building blocks. So in the last year, from an IoT standpoint, and I think this was mentioned, I mean, SAP's been working on IoT technologies since 1995 with RFID and cold chain and all these kinds of things. But what we've done is we've extended these solutions, added new solutions. These were released in the last year. I'll walk you through a few of them, and then there's one customer video here that's pretty fun. So this is a screenshot of our predictive maintenance solution. This is the web-based version. We also have a on-premise version. You can connect it with your own R libraries. We have out-of-the-box algorithms and data scientists who can help you get your predictive processes correct and then deploy this on the web or on-premise. Huge value proposition. This from our own benchmarking, lower unplanned downtime, lower annual service costs, higher return on assets. So this is a very valuable solution, and there weren't that many hands raised. So this is a great opportunity for companies to get value out of the equipment they're operating. We have tractor companies using this. There's a company called Kaiser Compressor in Germany that's using this. And one of the things that's interesting about this company is that they're also changing their business model around it and moving to selling air by the cubic meter. So because you can understand the costs of totally operating this equipment, being able to move to those new business models is much easier. Harley-Davidson, if you get a chance, York, Pennsylvania, to go to the plant there, SAP and other technologies are used. They've done an amazing job of optimizing their manufacturing plants there using our MII and Pico technologies, amongst others, and great results there on the manufacturing shop floor. Technology and automotive. I know Stefan's going to have a presentation on this, so I won't spend much time on it. Our telematics and other technologies. And then I think this is the video, isn't it?
We're incredibly proud. Cube XX is so unique, there's nothing like it on the market. And it also has the intelligence to communicate. That's what makes us so proud. The trend is already shifting from higher, faster, further toward creating an intelligent network. It's about becoming more efficient and linking business processes with the Internet of Things. When Cube XX receives an order, it autonomously chooses the correct mode to execute it. It independently drives to its target, avoiding obstacles, and of course, automatically reports the completion of the transportation order after the delivery of the load. And in order to let the Cube XX fully utilize its huge potential, it needs a partner. That partner is an IT platform which allows it to run interactively. The SAP Hana Cloud Platform.
The Hana Cloud Platform
enables the processing of large data volumes which come from all the equipment and sensors in real time. Connecting our ERP systems now with the Internet of Things means that vehicle data in the cloud, operating hours, and vehicle diagnoses are all interconnected. That's a quantum leap. We can take advantage of this in two ways. First of all, there's the optimization of existing business processes, such as maintenance. Second, a forklift will no longer be sold as a discrete product, but as a service that's invoiced according to the weight of goods transported. The next crucial step is enabling the Cube XXs to communicate with each other. They will then reassign transport orders amongst themselves. This is the intelligence of the future. And I believe we're taking the first important step forward with a partnership between SAP and Stihl.
SAP helps Stihl run simple.
So an interesting and powerful example of the predictive maintenance and other technologies in IoT. I don't know if you heard him. He said they're moving to selling by the pound transferred or the some other solutions. Port Authority of Hamburg. This is actually true in the United States as well. There was a Forbes magazine article on this that ports in the world, because of the global trade, are being overrun. The problem at the Hamburg port is they're a landlocked port. They can't grow anymore because they're surrounded by the city. They need to triple the throughput of the port in the next 10 years without expanding. At Port of Long Beach, I was reading that the truckers sometimes wait 3 hours. They can lose almost a full day pay because of issues with their own dispatchers because of those delays. So what we did is we work with the port. We put sensors on the containers, the ships, the loading docks, et cetera. And now the truckers, the dispatchers, the port authorities all have a different view of the data. The data is actually segmented. They wanted to not share certain types of data, but allows them to route the trucks and ask them to wait, et cetera, so that we're lining up the delivery as well as the loading perfectly. We're doing work in connected retail innovation. If you're ever at one of our shows, you'll see our connected vending machines, but these are also going to be connected with Hybris and other technologies that allow you a much more powerful experience at the retail area. We're doing cities work, et cetera. Lots of different customers. This is just the public group here in different areas. And as I said, at any one time, we're doing probably over 100 projects in custom innovation with customers. So if there's an area that we're not covering today and you're interested in, SAP has a team of hundreds of developers who are willing to help you work on those as well. So a little view, and I'll try to make this not too salesy, but just about the kinds of components you need. Stefan and team are here, Stefan Brand, who can get into the details, but kind of the components we're seeing customers use and the use cases of those different types of technologies. So at SAP, we believe you need to be able to connect to anything and connect anything to the core systems. You need edge technology to do that. You need intelligence on the edge for some use cases, some not. You need to be able to bring that data into the cloud at the top here. You need to bring that back to your on-premise systems so that you can synchronize those. And we also think another area that is not discussed very much is business networks. It's powerful. SAP's business networks drive a huge amount of commerce throughout the globe, and it allows us the ability to do calculations like whether you should repair or replace, and different types of if you want contingent labor with field glass, et cetera. So when you're optimizing the full business process, we believe that the business networks are going to play an incredibly important part in how companies reimagine their business. So quickly looking at the building blocks in the context of connecting, transforming, and then reimagining your business, we have a number of ways to connect data. We have a technology which is generally referred to as device cloud. It allows you to connect the devices directly to a web-based environment and provision the devices, et cetera. We have an on-premise environment generally used in the manufacturing plant called MII and Pico. MII does the dashboarding, Pico's the connectivity, has connection protocols to dozens of different types of devices. The third option, I like to think of as the edge intelligence option. This technology called SQL Anywhere Ultralight is a very lightweight database. It can run in a footprint around 300K, runs on any of the major mobile operating systems, and can maintain persistence when the device is offline. So if you have a cappuccino machine in a truck somewhere and it's moving and it comes in and out of signal, it will maintain the sensor information on the lightweight database, and then the mobiling technology will then synchronize with the home database when it comes back online. The third piece of technology mentioned there is called the event stream processor. This technology is used to do intelligence on the edge. So we have customers who have construction sites in Dubai and other places where thousands of workers, trucks, and cranes, and they were losing people every month to accidents. And so we worked with a partner, and we built a solution that allows cranes, if they're going to collide, or trucks to stop in sub-10 milliseconds time. You can't do that if you're doing it over the web with latency. So what this technology does is you can do two major things. One is stream compression by if the device is saying, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, you don't need to maintain that and send it back. But the second thing is you can write any sort of Boolean logic you want, anything you could do with JavaScript et cetera, you can write on the event stream processor and build objects, et cetera, and then update those with more intelligence so that the technology on the edge can take action and report without having to deal with going over the web. And the last one, we have a number of partners. We recently announced OSIsoft, ILS, and other device cloud companies. So if you're working with a company or you have this implemented in your organization, we're happy to connect, and we do that quite often. It's very robust. We've been connecting with these folks literally in days as they sign up on partnerships. So HCP is the Hana Cloud Platform for IoT that allows you to do your device management, messaging, application enablement, and in my view, what we're seeing customers do with this is rapidly write applications that they can deploy either to their channel or to their customer base. So this is a great environment for that. On Hana, I know most of you know about this, you have a number of technologies that have been added into Hana, time sequence, geo, and dynamic tiering make it available so that these massive amounts of data can be managed through Hana and data lakes. And we have HCI for integration. So these are the main technologies that you'll be working with, and as I said, Stefan is here, can give you more detail about that. We have another customers who have engaged with partners who have engaged with SAP. This is just a short list of some folks who've been trained recently, but we have a broad base of partners who know the technology, and hopefully this gives you a high-level view of all the things going on and will help you all provide that Corvette moment for your customer base. Thank you all very much.